I'm hitting the trail. It's time to do some talking. I'm gonna find me a honky-tonk hero with a story to tell. We'll have a chuckle. You never know, you might learn something. I'm hitting the trail. It's time to do some talking. I'm hitting the trail. It's time to do some talking.
You're listening to Tales from the Trail, brought to you by Cowboys and Indians Magazine. Now here's your host, Tyler Gummersall.
Well, welcome to the episode. I get to sit down with Clare Dunn. She is a musician. I believe she lives out in Nashville these days, but she's from southeastern Colorado, so it's kind of cool to get to talk with a fellow Coloradan. And man, this podcast has been overdue for release. We actually recorded it last summer out at Dierks Bentley's big music festival in Buena Vista, which was awesome. I think it's called Seven Peaks. But man, it was a great festival, and Clare was playing there. And she took the time to sit down and chat with me, which I really appreciate. Anyhow, so Clare is a very successful country artist, and she was on MCA Records, and now she's, I believe, with Big Yellow Dog Music. She was a highway find from Sirius XM. That's the big country station on Sirius XM, and they kind of discovered her, I suppose, which is really neat as an independent artist. And yeah, just super cool, down-to-earth Western gal. So I really appreciate her taking the time to talk with me. At the end of the episode, of course, I'll have links and stuff for you to go find out more about her music. But here we go, Clare Dunn.
Absolutely.
Dang. All right, now where are you from originally?
I'm from Durango. Do you know where that is?
Hell yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'm from Colorado.
You're from the southeast. From
Yeah, basically just the opposite direction of you.
East, yeah.
Straight. Yep.
Yeah, the other
Maybe
side
a little
of the
bit
mountains.
south of y'all. Because I'm only 30
Probably.
miles from the border. How far are y'all
Well,
from
where
New
I
Mexico?
grew up is a quarter mile from New Mexico.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So Durango's probably 30 miles, but I grew up in like Allison, which is really
okay.
close, by Navajo Lake.
Got you.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, totally.
Y'all farm and ranch out there?
A little bit, yep. I grew
Nice.
up on 80 acres, all that stuff.
Nice.
I wouldn't say they farm as much as they ranch.
Right.
You guys probably farm more.
Yes.
So let's start with that. You
Yeah.
grew up farming?
Yes.
FFAing? 4-Hing?
FFAing, 4-Hing, showing,
Yeah.
farming, ranching.
Nice.
Yes.
What did you show? Did you show steers?
Well, oh man, that's taking it back. So one year in 4-H we showed dairy heifers.
Okay.
And we mostly showed horses
Yeah.
in 4-H. That was our thing. We
Cool.
loved horses and loved riding and all that. But one year my parents got the bright idea, like, let's show a dairy heifer. And I was like, why? Why are we doing this? And like walking backwards in the arena was so foreign to me.
Yeah.
My heifer stepped on my foot. I couldn't walk backwards. I fell down. Something else happened too. I think she like bucked. I mean, I was awful.
whole thing.
It was a whole thing, and I was terrible. But it was a great experience, and I at least knew I never wanted to do that again.
Yeah.
It's like, can I stick to horses?
So did you show like gymkhanas or halter? What did you do?
Oh
with
man, we
horses
did
in 4-H?
everything. In 4-H, we did it all. We
Yeah.
did barrel racing, poles,
Okay.
showmanship,
Yeah.
horsemanship, western riding.
Neat.
We would spend lots of time at the state fair growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Colorado, that was like my favorite. That was
Yeah.
like the pinnacle of my year growing up.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
days at the Colorado State Fair. I still have never been to a state fair as good, in my opinion,
It's
anyway.
pretty awesome. It's an awesome state fair.
I think so.
I sang, and when I was in 4-H, I did the talent contest, and one year I made the state.
Yeah.
But I was like 9, and I
Yeah.
was singing Pickup Man. That was like And then I got to state, and then everybody else was singing like gospel music, and it was like 9 in the morning, and my Pickup Man didn't go over so well
Oh,
with those
no.
judges. Yeah, but
Jeez.
Yeah, but it is an awesome state fair.
Yes, that is awesome. I love it. Well, at 9 in the morning, what can you say?
Yeah,
I'd be
no,
ready for Pickup Man.
That's right.
I would have voted for you.
Thank you. No, that's neat. And so obviously that's a big part of your music. And when you listen to your music, even some of the radio singles definitely have like a pop edge.
Uh-huh.
But you listen to the lyrics, and it's about it's about that. It's about farming and
Yeah.
growing up. So how has that influenced your music? Pretty heavily?
Oh, man, everything about it.
Yeah.
I think, too, you can attest that, when you're spending 12 hours a day in a cab of a tractor, you don't have a choice. You don't have anything other to do than listen to music.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, we listened to whatever radio station we could tune in, where I'm from, it's either classic rock or country.
Yeah.
and you only could probably maybe tune in one of them. We're so rural.
Yeah.
So you had one choice that day, and that was really great because it educated me about all of those two types of genres of music. And then when I got an iPod, that was just like heaven because I just loaded that puppy up with anything and everything.
Yeah.
And so my music, the sound of it has a lot of different influences.
Sure.
But the story of it, those are all my stories. Like Tuxedo is all about my dream of finding, cowboy, farm boy, country boy, whatever, like how I grew up with, the kind I grew up with. And
the real values.
Yeah, absolutely. Just big old tough dude. And, so all the lyrics are definitely my stories, and the sound is just kind of a mixture of everything I grew up, listening to driving tractors.
Sure, which makes sense. And did you, so like Tuxedo, for example, did you write that?
Yeah.
Did you co-write it or write it by yourself?
I co-wrote it. I love to write by myself, but I co-wrote that, and I co-produced it, and I get to play guitar on everything.
That's another thing too. You don't see many women like playing lead guitar.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bummer.
I know.
Bonnie Raitt's one of my favorite guitar players ever.
Jeez. Susan Tedeschi.
Yeah, exactly. They can get it. So it's really neat. I haven't seen you live yet, but I've seen some of the videos and such, and you can pick, which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
So when did you start playing, or how did that all happen?
I didn't start playing till late.
Yeah.
I started playing when I moved to Nashville.
Okay.
And I just, I got some lessons in the beginning, and then it kind of was one of those things where you just have to put in the work beyond that. No amount of lessons is going to, kind of carry you over the finish line. So I just had no social life, no dating life, and I still have 3 friends in Nashville to this day. And because I don't practice as much anymore. I make records now, and so I just kind of am a bit of a hermit in that way. And the work ethic from growing up on the farm and ranch really carried over into playing guitar because it was hard. I don't consider myself a natural guitar player by any means. It was just a lot of hard work trying to figure it out.
No, guitar is very hard. It's like it's not like a piano where the note is going to be sound good, no matter what.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You gotta,
it's how you touch
you gotta
it. Yeah,
fret it and all that stuff too, which is neat.
Yeah.
So when did you head to Nashville? Talk a little bit about your journey.
College was my opportunity to go really pursue music. So I moved there for college, and I went to a school called Belmont that I could not afford.
Yeah.
And racked up a bunch of student debt to do it, student loans.
Sure.
And but it was a great opportunity. My family, we farm and ranch, and that's it. As far as I know, my family's history since we got to this country, that's pretty much in one form or fashion all we've done. So music was definitely way outside the norm. And so, it was just I needed some kind of connection and some kind of foot in the door. And, it was a hard way to get a foot in the door. There's much easier ways, but it was, I was grateful that I got to do that.
That's neat. No, Belmont's a great school, and they have an awesome music program. It's pretty unique to have such a great music business program as well. And so what was that experience like? You did songwriting?
Yeah.
And
I was music business my first semester, and only because I didn't know that a songwriting program existed. Yeah. And I figured that out real quick, and I was like, oh, switch.
I want to be in that one.
Yeah. And so that was really cool for me because those couple years I was there was like my first publishing deal, really. A guy named Tom Schuyler, who's a Hall of Fame songwriter, he mentored me and took me under his wing. And I was just this clueless kid with a lot of passion, but no idea what I was doing. And he was just very gracious and just mentored me and taught me how to write my story in my own way, not to write my story his way or any of that. Tom was, I think, one of the most brilliant songwriters we've ever had in country music. And I would not be here had it not been for his belief in me and his pouring of his time into me. So the songwriting, program at Belmont was just life-changing for me. And I had so many other mentors there as well. I was just really lucky. And the program is kind of, or at least when I was there, it was mostly based on Music Row. It wasn't on campus, so it was really cool. You you were on the row. You were on the place where you were trying to get to ultimately.
Yeah, and you're interacting with people who are making it.
Yeah.
Who have made it, and so that's what's so cool and unique.
Huge.
And for people who may not know, literally Belmont is literally around the corner from Music Row. It's a pretty incredible experience. I think that it's probably changed. It's changing a lot.
Sure.
And has changed, which is kind of sad. Like not as many businesses are on the road.
I know.
Kind of moving.
Oh,
but
that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other conversation. Yeah, that's right. Knocking down some of those buildings is crazy. But,
well, yeah, I could not to interrupt you, but I could just like add to one of those. It's the place where I write, the publishing company I write songs for currently. We used to be in a building that was owned by Owen Bradley, and Owen Bradley, for those that don't know, was like one of the godfathers of recording in Nashville and helping Nashville become Music City.
Yeah.
Recorded Patsy Cline and the Everly Brothers and just so many historic albums that have been monuments for our genre. And anyway, this building where we used to write songs up until a month ago was his first office building when he started Columbia Records in Nashville.
Wow.
And Conway Twitty and Tammy Wynette had offices in there. His old demo studio is still intact.
Wow.
And this building is vacant now. I don't know who's in it. I don't know what they're doing with it. I'm told that the Historical Society has finally got their heads in gear, and they're going to preserve some of these things. And not to be against progress. We all have to have progress.
No,
but
progress is great, but the reason it's cool, there's a reason it's cool. And so you got to hold on to some of that as you move forward.
Well, it's important to not forget your roots.
Yeah.
And our roots in Nashville have been very good ones, so why would we want to destroy those?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely a parallel to farming and ranching, too. Do your family still ranch?
Yeah.
Farm? Yeah. So,
yes.
I mean, being able to hang on to that is incredibly hard, especially nowadays. So, I think that's great.
You're telling me.
That's
yes.
a big thing.
It was very tough. They went through some very big trials, growing up and having to figure out how to hold on and hang on, and it's legacy. It's hard fought for legacy, and you know this more than anybody, and all your listeners, that ag is tough today. It's tougher than it's probably ever been.
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe besides the Depression, which even then I don't know.
That was pretty tough.
Yeah.
Do you have any brothers or sisters who are?
Yep.
Yeah. Are they involved, or is everybody?
Yes. We both. I have one sister. It's just she and I, and we both stay involved in the farm and ranch.
Cool.
We're both still involved in it. And
that's great.
I come home every chance I get. She lives in Woodward, Oklahoma, and she is in ag lending.
Okay.
And a very much a champion for the farmers and the ranchers in her part of Oklahoma, and she fights tooth and nail to help those guys and gals make it and stay in ag and keep on their land. And she doesn't give them handouts or do them any favors, but my gosh, she helps them keep what they have put together.
Yeah. There's no farmer ranch without a wife with a job in town, or a
banker,
a very good banker.
Yes.
Kind of like the music business too.
Yes, in some ways.
That's
yes.
funny, no. Cool. Well, so circling back to the music thing too, you are on a major record label, which from the outside seems like that is happening less and less these days, honestly. So that's a pretty cool thing to begin with.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? So you're at Belmont, and then you started writing songs for a publishing company. Did you get a publishing deal first?
Yeah, I came up through kind of the ranks of the songwriting world, and then started touring in an F-150 pickup and trailer.
Nice.
And it was just scrapping to make it all work. And I went to Belmont. I got an internship, which led to my first publishing deal, which then led to me being able to get this great experience of writing songs, making records, meeting people in the community, becoming great friends with a lot of great songwriters. And then, once I had, a batch of songs ready to go, I started out on the road, and I ended up, just kind of getting a buzz and a following built, and just sort of word of mouth going, and one thing led to another, and we were probably playing 150 shows a year, somewhere in there, out of this pickup, and farm mechanicking experience and mechanicking over the phone with my dad came in real handy.
Yeah, real handy.
But it just sort of one thing led to another, and a lot of nights playing for two people out in the crowd, and then just you keep on building. And they got wind about what was happening with us out on the road, and SiriusXM was supporting us and at that time, and a lot of, I spent a lot of time visiting small, they call them secondary radio stations.
Yeah.
They're not secondary to me. They're still as important just as anybody.
Right.
But I had a lot of support there, and then Universal came out and saw me play one night in Chicago, opening up for, I believe it was Will Hogue.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Will's awesome.
And I love him. He is the man.
Yeah.
And so then it just kind of, after that, they were like, okay, let's get you to sign on the dotted line. And I was like, all right, sure.
Yeah. Well deserved. So still,
you.
grinding it out and building a following. I think that seems to be the consistent
key
for anybody who wants to do this stuff.
Absolutely.
You got to go out and build a fan base. How have you seen, the business change just in your short period of time that you've been doing it? I mean,
I think that, I think the opportunity of streaming has been amazing for our business, because it allows the fans to have complete control over what they want to listen to, and I think that anytime that's the case, I think that it's just healthy for the types of music that we make, for the types of country music that we make. Country music is a big tent, and there's lots of forms of country music, and I think that, I grew up a child of the 90s country. You had 25 female, I could name you 25 females I listened to, 25 males. It was just so much, and I think that's wonderful, and I think that has been a very golden era of our genre, and I think that the opportunity of streaming is going to open that back up, to where there's just going to be this diversity in country music that we haven't had in a little while.
Unlimited access. It
is
pretty incredible.
Yeah,
that way.
exciting.
Any song you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As many times as you want.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's freedom as artists too.
Yeah.
I think it represents that you can be the artist that you are. You don't have to sort of, so to speak, play by anyone else's rules.
Sure.
You can make your music, let the fans decide.
Yeah, and if people like it, then they can listen to
Absolutely.
it.
Yep.
Who are you listening to? I haven't asked anybody this on the podcast yet, so you're the
great
first
question.
one. Yeah.
I'm listening a lot right now. I don't know why, but I'm going back and listening to a lot of Waylon right now.
Really cool.
I've always been a Waylon fan.
Yeah.
But for some reason right now, like I was listening to him this morning, getting ready on some Honoring and Mean, and Ain't No God in Mexico, and so I'm listening a lot to him. I'm listening a lot to Hank Jr. right now. I'm just sort of going back.
I love it.
Cody Johnson. We're getting ready to play a couple shows with him. And
cool.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
I've been a big fan for a long time, for probably at least, I think someone introduced me to him about 2 years ago, somewhere in there, and I was really excited, to see everything happening for him. So
yeah, no doubt, he's worked hard.
Yes.
I for the first record I think I heard of his was the Cowboy Like Me record.
Yeah.
I love that one, and he's
killing it.
Talk about playing shows.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
That
Do you
guy.
get down to Texas at all to play?
We've been there a few times, not near as much as I'd like. In fact, we're planning on spending a lot more time down there.
Cool.
Just those are cowboys and cowgirls. Like, I mean,
That's neat.
I grew up getting, I shouldn't admit this, and sorry, Mom, but getting kicked out of clubs to go see, Texas country bands down in Amarillo, and I wasn't drinking. I was just in there for the music.
That's
but
right. Yeah.
I got ratted out.
Dang
She's not 21.
Oh, no.
I wasn't even 18. So that whole community has been. We grew up watching. Cross Canadian and Randy Rogers and Kevin Fowler and Stoney LaRue and all those guys. And so I love that type of music, and I love those people. I'm one of those fans. So we're looking forward to playing more in Texas coming up.
That's cool. I think they'll like it for sure.
Aw, thanks.
No, it's cool. It's unique.
Yeah.
On the musician side of things, talk about your gear a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you.
Woo.
Yeah.
Don't get me excited.
Yeah, totally. What do you like to play?
Well, guitar-wise, I play Telecasters mostly. I will play Stratocasters. I love Stratocasters. But mostly I've got this, it's a 57 reissue just because I'm I haven't bought an actual real vintage yet,
Yeah.
which I want to, but I've been lucky. Fender's given me quite a few guitars, so I'm
Nice.
like, why am I gonna go buy
Yeah,
one when
yeah.
they're just, so.
No, don't go into Carter or Gruen's. You'll
Oh, golly.
come out with a light wallet.
Yes, you will. My credit cards can't handle that.
Yeah, that's right. Light plastic, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
But so that's what I play guitar-wise right now.
Neat.
I play through. I'm sponsored by Vox Amp, so
Oh, cool.
they showed up one time. I was playing another amp, kind of a boutique maker, and
Yeah.
it blew up one night at a
Oh,
show.
no.
And it had blown up about 2 or 3 times. This was back before I had a record deal, and Vox happened to be in the audience, and they were like, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about being a Vox artist."
Oh,
and I was
man.
like, "Well, what does that mean?" And they were like, "Well, we'll give you an amp." And I was like, "Done."
Yeah.
It was toast. My other amp at the time was toast, and I was gonna have to go figure out how to buy a new one that I couldn't afford. So I play a hand-wired AC30
Nice.
Vox amp, and then
Now, is that special to get a hand wired from them, or do they all do hand wired?
I don't think all artists do hand-wired. I
Yeah.
don't think all Vox artists.
Right.
I don't know, but
I don't think so either. I think
Yeah.
Fender just recently started doing hand wired stuff.
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty special.
Yeah.
Hand wired's the way to go for sure.
Absolutely.
A lot less to go wrong if you want reliability.
Yeah, and just I like the tone better.
You like it, yeah, you don't-
It's
Do
a
you-
better deal.
Do you use a bajillion pedals, or do you just?
I am the kind of player, I like to be a little bit more meat and potatoes.
Mhm.
I have an RC boost that I kind of sometimes leave on. Sometimes we don't have control over our backline situations.
Yeah.
Like for instance today, we flew in,
Right.
to do the show. So
Sure.
RC boost kind of helps, you can kind of even out any amp situation you got going on.
Sure.
It's kind of like a leveler in some ways. Then I run a delay pedal. I run a boutique boost that a guy in Nashville makes for me.
Cool.
An Imperial Drive, tremolo. Sometimes some funky reverbs if I'm wanting to play something old school.
All the country stuff.
Yeah, that's really about it. Wah, volume.
Yeah.
My board is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
There's the guys out here that their boards are
I
like
know,
10
they
feet
show
long, and
up
I'm just
there.
like, I wouldn't know what to do with all that stuff.
There's way too many
I'd get
options.
lost. I'd just get lost right there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we're kind of rock and roll vibe anyway.
That's cool.
So
Yeah. So what's the band you're touring with now? Has it been set lineup, or has it
Same
changed?
guys.
Same guys, or?
my bass player has been with me since the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
He's been with me for 6 years.
Wow.
And that was pickup days and all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
first show he played with me was at the Iron City in Birmingham, Alabama, and we've been going ever since.
Cool.
And so some of the other guys change in and out, but it's really cool because we're only a 4-piece. Me, bass, drums, and another guitar player. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I have several guys that kind of depending on everyone's schedules, and everyone's got a lot of things going on that will I've had the same several guys for a while that come and play guitar and drums, and me and Reed have been out there chucking since day
Oh,
one.
that's cool.
Yeah.
No, I think that's important to kind of like have. Seems like if you have at least a stable piece or something in there, especially the bass player.
Yeah.
that
It's
helps
been,
a lot.
man, I'll tell you, it's been awesome. He's just been so loyal and
Yeah.
such a huge help, and he's my band leader.
Oh, nice.
And I've seen that happen in several other artists. Kind of in the early years, they'll always have that one guy that's in it for the long haul,
Yeah.
and it pays off. And so
Sure.
Reed's been awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, what do you have coming up? So we're here at Seven Peaks in
Yes.
Buena Vista, or Buena Vista, as the locals call it.
Oh, I know,
Which
I know.
yeah.
I always say Buena Vista, and I'm
Oh,
like, I'm sure they hate me for
Yeah,
that.
that's okay. We're not from here. That's all right. We're from the edges.
I know.
We say it right. But so this is pretty awesome. You get to play this festival. What,
Yeah.
what do you guys have coming up?
Coming up, I'm going back in the studio.
Oh, cool.
For a good bit of September,
Awesome.
working on new music that we hope to have out very soon. So I'm really excited about that.
Cool.
And then we're just going back out on the road. We're going back with Cody Johnson. We have some headlining theater dates up in like the northern states, and we're just back out on the road.
Nice.
Studio, road,
Yeah.
rinse and repeat.
Are you gonna are you shooting for an album, or is it kind of singles these days?
I think, man, that's just such a tough question, and it's a tough decision, really. I don't know exactly yet. I know everyone's kind of talking about it and debating, but I'm just a fan of, I don't care how it's put out, just put it out.
Yeah.
Whether it's one at a time, 12 at a time, 4 at a time. I think we'll probably do 1 at a time
Yeah.
for a little bit at least. And, you know, because I write every day.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a little different. I write and record all the time.
Sure.
So I may record 12 songs and then write something on day 13
Yeah.
that is better than the 12 I just recorded. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that aspect kind of makes a little bit of the decision for us. Just that, you know, you just never know what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah.
So we always want to go with whatever we think the best thing is at the moment. And so, yeah, it's exciting for me. you
No,
know?
that's really fun. So on the gaps, then basically you're like writing and getting demos together, or are you
Yeah.
doing it on the road as well? Are you doing the bus? Or?
I do as much as I can on the road and the bus.
Yeah.
I am not as productive on the road as I'd like to be.
That's hard.
Well, yeah, and our show is very vocally intensive for me.
Sure.
And, you know, we end the show with Led Zeppelin rock and roll every night. So the next morning is not necessarily going to be a 10 a.m. vocal day for me.
That's right.
But you know, I try to get as much as I can done. But I have a studio in my house in Nashville, and it's really nice for me. I can just bring all my gear in, everything's still set up, and I can just plug in and start working. And that's really where I get productive, is just at home on the off days, off the road, and you know, in the gaps. Yep.
That's really neat. And in your process when you're writing alone, or I guess with other folks as well, do you guys usually are you like a big lyricist where you're keeping journals, or do you kind of start from chord progressions and such?
It happens in all different ways for
Yeah.
me. I believe that, you know, lyrics are so important, and for me especially, you know, if I'm writing a song for myself as an artist, you know, every word's got to be true and something I've seen or lived or witnessed or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I can't just I guess it's making it up in some ways, but not the story, you know. You got to make up the way to tell it. But anyway, you know, so just depends. Lyrics some days come better for me. Some days I'm more melodically focused. I'm singing into my phone and talking into my phone all the time.
Sure.
I probably look like a weirdo and, you know, walking around backstage and singing and trying to find a quiet place somewhere where I can put a voice note down. But it just depends. I take the idea in any way that I can get it. And that's something that, you know, Tom Schuyler taught me. He just said, it don't matter how you get it, just note it. You know, make sure you write it down or record it in some way. So anything that comes to me,
You're on it.
I'm trying
any
to be.
which way, yeah.
Yeah, middle of the night, those are really fun.
No, that's
you know?
cool. That's interesting. I think it's interesting how different people write. So if you're doing it consistently, do you think you kind of stay in more of a rhythm as opposed to taking a break?
Definitely.
And coming back?
I think for me and my brain, if I stay in a good rhythm, things just click easier.
Yeah.
For me, it's a bit of a muscle. You know, it's just like running 5 miles a day. If you don't run that 5 miles a day every day or for too many days, it's going to be a little tougher the next time you try to go do it. So I like to stay in that schedule, and it keeps me fresh and keeps me kind of, you know, everything clicking.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. Neat. So we talked a little bit about what's on the horizon. I guess for our listeners who might be trying to get into playing or singing or writing, I don't know. Do you have some great earth-shattering advice? Do you hold the secrets to
I wish I did. I wish I held all the secrets. I would gladly share them.
Yeah.
I would just say, you know, I do get asked this question quite a bit, and I've thought about it, you know, here and there over the years. And one thing that I wish somebody would have told me is just don't be afraid to just start where you're at, you know. And I did start where I was at. It wasn't a lot I could do where I was at, but even then, it was still valuable. It was valued experience that I got, you know. Like I recorded a demo in some little town, I can't even remember where, in the panhandle of Oklahoma, in a guy's basement. You know, my parents, thank God, were with me, and I mean, I got, you know, it was just like I was recording to a karaoke tape.
Nice.
It was just so, you know, but it was an important experience in my life. And start where you're at, you know. Don't be afraid of humble beginnings. And don't be afraid to just, like, if you have a coffee shop in your town, write some songs, learn how to play a guitar, go play those songs at the coffee shop, you know. Nobody will care at first. but maybe the 5th time you play, 2 people will care. Maybe the 10th time you play, 100 people will care. I mean, just don't be worried about, you don't have to know it all at the beginning. You don't have to have it all put together. Just start.
Yeah.
And you'll learn as you go, but just start is really the main thing, I think. Buy a laptop, get GarageBand, learn how to record your own, watch YouTube, learn how to make demos, it's all at your fingertips. Just start.
Yeah. I think that's the interesting thing about music. I mean, you literally can never know it all, and you literally can never, be the best at everything, which is really cool. So you have no ceiling. You can always get better and learn. But that's good advice, to start, because I mean, I'm sure, as you've said, you played to 2 people a lot of times.
Oh yeah,
Chris Stapleton's played to 2 people a lot of times.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Well, and I think sometimes that those experiences, I've been fortunate to know some folks who have kind of had the quick route.
Sure.
Chris Stapleton definitely did not have the quick route.
No.
He did not, but I think Chris will be somebody, because Chris had all those experiences where it's tough to play to 2 people and keep them entertained all night. And it's tough to have your head together and be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Well, I've driven 900 miles to play to 2 people. Where is my life going,
Yeah.
Those are important character building experiences for yourself, but also as an entertainer.
Sure.
That, those 2 people showed up, and you bet I drove 900 miles, and I drive the same 900 miles to play for those same 2 people again.
Yeah.
And, Chris will go play till he's dead if he wants to, or but there's some people who have the quick rise.
Yeah.
And playing to 2, it's just good experience, I'll say.
I know. I can't imagine. And being able to be here now in front of thousands, it's got to feel better too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like to
think it means more.
Yeah.
I think you just.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Stapleton is taking anything for granted.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
I don't think he's taking one of those 20,000 people every night for granted.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it makes you appreciate it.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sitting down with me.
You are so welcome. Thank you for letting me. I appreciate it.
This has been really fun.
Thank you. It has, and it's just such an honor.
Awesome.
So,
all right, cool.
Appreciate it.
Have a good show.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was really fun, and I appreciate Claire sitting down and talking with me and taking the time to do that. If you get the chance to see her live too, man, her and her band, they just tear it up. It's like high energy rock and roll with a little bit of a country twist, but it's a really good show, and she's a great guitar player too. It's fun to watch them play, and I really enjoyed watching them play at the festival. So anyhow, you can head over to her website. It's Clare Dunn, ClareDunn, and check out her music. She's on all the streaming services and stuff, of course, but please do that. And as always, you can find more episodes of this podcast at my website, TyllerTylermusic.com. And you can also go to CowboysIndians.com and search Tales from the Trail and find it on Cowboys and Indians Magazine's website. I appreciate their support on this podcast. If you're listening, there's also a video version on YouTube and Cowboys and Indians and my website. And if you are watching this on YouTube, then go ahead and you can download this in your favorite podcast service as well if you want to just listen to the audio only version. Anyhow, thanks for hanging out and listening, and I hope to see you down the trail. I hope you're staying safe out there. Thanks.